My name is Thomas Gray, and I urge all 355 Division One college basketball programs to consider and to support my three-tiered fair play system to replace the current outdated and unfair unit and quadrant systems put in place by the governing body, the NCAA. Now consider that term, the governing body, the NCAA. This is a country where our governing body was found for the people, by the people. The American spirit is not the land of elitism or the land of handouts, it's the land of opportunity. Our spirit is if you work hard enough, you will get a chance to be great. So, my pitch is not only to the athletic directors, the coaches, and the institutions, but also to the fans to keep the madness in March Madness while creating a fair play initiative. Now, what's the main issue? Let's start with the quadrant system. The quadrant system is a strength of schedule mathematic system that is used to help determine the seeding and to help determine the selection of teams making the 64 field of the NCAA tournament and especially the at large bids. Now, what is this system? This includes home games versus the top 160 ranked programs, neutral site games versus the top 200 ranked programs, and away games versus the top 240 ranked teams. This this is all put together, and that gives them a ranking of how strong their schedule is. Now, to use an example that's currently happening, the Maui Invitational Tournament is an annual tournament that happens in November, and it's invitation only, and it's a small select field. Only one of all the teams in that tournament do not have a FBS Division One football program. That would be Dayton. And so financially, they're behind all the other schools in this Maui Invitational, but they've managed to compete. And again, why is this an issue? Because these top tier teams are facing off in November and they are getting that quadrant system bump by playing neutral site games. And so a team like Colorado, who is undefeated, or who is unranked, I should say, on November 26th, just yesterday, beat number two UConn, back to back national champions, number two UConn in this neutral site tournament. Therefore, they're going to get an enormous boost that is really going to make a big chunk of their regular season not matter at all because they got that big quadrant win. Now, let's look at the unit system used for the NCAA tournament and the revenue sharing amongst the teams. Now, the NCAA makes $1.3 billion from March Madness, and 264 million of that revenue is shared with the 64 teams in the final field. Now, where does this become unfair? Well, of those power conference schools, which feature about 60 plus teams, um, 29 of those power conference schools made the NCAA tournament and they walked away with 130 million of the 264 million revenue shared. So just 16% made of teams made 45% of the revenue. So the other 200 plus teams are not seeing a fair shake of the revenue. Now let's look at an example of the 13 teams that made the field that do not have a football program whatsoever. Of those 13 teams, um, 11 of them were ranked 12 through 16, so the worst seeds. St. Mary's and Gonzaga were ranked as the fifth seed, giving them a better opportunity to win more games. Of those 13 teams, they combined for a record of 4 and 13, with all but three losing in the first round, and Gonzaga being the only one to win multiple games. So, what happens with their revenue sharing? Those 13 teams combined for $32 million flat. That's it. Because you get $2 million for making the tournament, and then you have the incentives of making more each round you get further. So the baseline is 2 million, and then Gonzaga made over 5 million on their run. So I would like to create more equal opportunity based on the seeding. So you will see in my bracket that is in my slideshow presentation that I've highlighted the green and yellow teams to represent those that do not have a football program that made the tournament, and to show you the unfair disadvantage they have in the seeding, with 11 of those 13 being ranked 12th to 16th, meaning they're playing powerhouse programs right off the bat, and that's why they're losing. If we could get them to a better seating, they would have more opportunities to advance and make more money. Why is that seating important? Well, the worst seeded team to ever win a national championship is number 8, Villanova in 1985. And then a couple of number 7 and number 6 seeds have also been there. But really, if you're outside of the top 5 seeds, you don't have much of a chance at all. So before a ball is even tipped in the NCAA tournament, you could chop out half the seeds, 9 through 16, no chance at all. And then it gets smaller and smaller from there. So with my fair play 3-tiered system, we would avoid the Wild West, which is the current NCAA football system of NIL money, conference realignment, by breaking it into tiers. This would balance how much money goes to these power conferences versus the smaller schools, because if they have better seeding, then they could play opponents that are fair in the first round, or give them a better shot to reach later rounds because of their seeding. Um, and really, my policy is not only to allow these Cinderella teams to continue to make runs and give them opportunities to make more money on a more financially fair playing field, but also because the current NCAA athletic landscape calls for evolution and structure. So these systems, the unit system and the quadrant system, must be updated and must be replaced by my 3-tiered fair play bracket system to give